changes to whatever I'm feeling. Which I think
yeah, I'm not the same. Like, my dad's definitely a massive role model for me, and a few like really talented guitarists I've been following have been a really big inspiration to me too.
Yeah, all my family, friends who I spend my time with, people who work hard and inspire each other, and obviously a lot of musicians, some of my favourite bands, of course. Yeah.
Thank you. Silence. Hi.
I just would like to know, I think we all know that Letter to the Lost is a very emotional song. And I just would like to know, are you going out on stage and singing the song to remember someone, or is it hard for you to play it every time?
If you didn't hear the question was about the song Letters to the Lost. Oh, it's heavy.
Sorry.
No, please don't apologize. No, it's something that we all have to like deal with. It's like, it's life, isn't it, you know? So I wrote the song as an emotional response to the passing of my friend. Do I go out there, or did I go out there and do it to remember him? Well, by writing the song anyway, I was like sort of trying to memorialize him, I suppose, in some way. But the thing is, as well, is like, I keep a photo of him by my sink or in my apartment, so I see him every day, and like, I talk to him a lot, which is important for me because, you know, it means that he's still there, and whilst they're still here and still here, they're still with us, right? And was it hard? Yeah, I would say it was. It was really hard, like living in like that feeling and that like emotion all the time, or like night in and day out. It's like, yeah, it's really difficult. And the thing that like sort of kept me going, I think, through that process and through the process of the first record was like your response and your response and your response and your response and everyone's response to it, because it seemed to like connect with people, and people seemed to like understand that feeling, you know, and that's really important that we all like talk about that and that we all share in that, because that in and of itself is very supportive. So it was written as an emotional response, and yes, it was hard, but thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and you, and everyone for like sharing in that with us night in, night out. So yeah, perfect. Okay, answering that one. You're welcome.
I was thinking, you're living in LA now.
I am living.
Yeah, you're living in LA. So how does it work for the band?
It doesn't. Well, Sam lives in Berlin. Tristan
I live in London.
lives in London.
Jimmy lives in Manchester.
Just outside of London, yeah.
So we're basically
Yeah.
not together. It's very hard logistically to get everyone together and, you know, practice and write and stuff. So yeah.
But I think, I don't know, the way we kind of function as a band, we work very well in kind of satellites, as satellites around, and we kind of bouncing things around from each other. I think we're really good at that. We've always been really good at that.
Yeah.
You know, we were, from when we started, it didn't really, you know, we grew up together and always playing music, so when we get together, it's, you know, like no time passed at all. We get straight into that. But in terms of how we work super well, like as satellites, and then coming together to kind of play and, you know, be musicians, and it makes those moments incredibly special when we do. And yeah.
Yeah, totally. My ego wants to add to that. I can be like really dogmatic in the music environment when my ego can take over instantly. It's like it just feeds this part of me where I just get like, rah, like I'm so in. And like Sam said, like working individually and as separate like people is really important for us, because it means that we all like get into what it is that we are doing. You know, it's like rather than sort of being in an environment and having one person needing to do one thing at that time and like the 4 other people kind of like having to go along with that, it gives us time to focus. And it's funny as like the band has progressed, we've all taken on different roles within like the business side of things too, you know, and some people like Roland and Sam, for instance, I hope you don't mind me saying, but Roland and Sam for this run have like built the entire fucking stage rig. Like they built that, so all the things that we're listening to in our ears and how that looks for us, you know, it's very technical stuff, but we geek out on it, right? They built that with their hands, and like that's so sick. I love that shit. And so like, you know, and I'll be there like stressing about artwork or whatever, you know, it's just important that we have that space so that when we come together, we can be like productive, explosive, and we're all still like getting to know each other as well, which is really nice. You know, we started this project and it was really like, okay, we're just gonna be as loud and as angry as we possibly can be, and like now it's like we're getting into this space and time where I think there's this like real nice like sensitivity that's coming through, so to have time to like know that is really beautiful as well.
Can't wait to hear the new music.
Oh bless you, thank you. So yes, I promise you the next.
It's a very basic question, but how did you came up with Counterfeit as your band name?
I wish I had a really good answer for you. I really do. So I was on stage in the West End and we started this project, and it needed a name. And obviously, right, yeah. And I like am a bit of an emo kid, and so like Roland was on email and Tristan was on email and a couple of other friends were on this email chain, and I was like throwing ideas out there like, you know, don't leave the toilet seat up because my heart is broken and come back to me before I die, you know, that kind of stuff. And I was walking down the street and the words like popped into my mouth. The way that I write is very like, I try and do automatic writing as much as possible. Like I sort of will like let things come up and see how they feel and see how they sit in my mouth. And that word came up and it just was like, sounded and it felt good. Like it just felt good, and I was like, that feels right. And I think subconsciously, you know, there's all sorts of like levels of like irony and like, you know, like emotionality to it. And I've just done an interview. I just did an interview with someone the other day when we were talking about this new record that we've just made, and I was talking about sensitivity, and I was talking about what it means to be like a person, and having gone through the journey of the first record and going into the journey of the second record, and talking about that. And they said, oh well, maybe, you know, maybe the name like meant something at that time. And I was like, maybe, I don't fucking know, you know, I don't know. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but it, like, you know, it's all how it feels, and it's all how it sits, and it's like, you know, that's kind of where I try to live. Yes.
When will we get a second album?
You answer that one, sorry.
As soon as we can. I can't, you know, like as soon as it's ready. It's so close.
Are you mixing it?
I'm not personally mixing it. Oh god, no, fucking hell.
You're gonna get a large chunk of it tonight.
Well,
so
yeah.
Can't wait.
So we've got, yeah, we think that it will be ready and out by January of next year. And I know I've said this to you a lot, and probably to a lot of other people in this room as well. But yes, we are trying to get it out by January of next year. It's, in answer to your question about mixing, it's being mixed by Chris Lord-Alge, who mixed all the Green Day stuff and mixed My Chemical Romance, and yeah, it's really sick. It's really, really cool. And obviously, like, we're like, you know, part of that too. So we're like full steam ahead on that, doing other things and like trying to get it ready and boxed off, and it's going to be really cool. Like, I think we're trying to put, well, I'm trying to put as much of like myself into the whole thing as possible. Like, you know, just like who I really, really, really am, the Jamie that's at home. And that's what I want to put into this, and that's what I want to give. So that's why it's just like, it's just that little bit deeper. Is that a bit deeper?
Well, that's okay to wait then.
Okay, bless you. Yes, thank you for the whistle.
Hi guys.
Hello.
I would like to know what can we expect from tonight's show?
Nothing, silence.
New music.
Yeah, we're gonna, well, I will tell you guys first. So we're gonna play pretty much everything that we recorded for this new album for you guys tonight. Like, we're gonna share everything that we can with you. Yeah, I hope you like it. It's a totally new journey for us. Like, it's totally new. Playing it in front of people for the first time is fucking terrifying. Like, I'm really scared. But yeah, we really wanted to like start a new journey, you know, because I think we see albums as like they capture moments in time, you know, and they capture like that time, and we wanted to like move from one time into another and like bring everyone with us and be like, okay, cool, let's do this. And it's, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's fucking crazy. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, it's cool though. Like, it's just different for us, and that's like, that's exciting. It's still got that energy. There's songs that still have that energy, but there's also songs that are like softer and like more in here and more exploring that sensitivity, because I think for me, I'm really going off on one now, sorry, excuse me, but I think for me, like, with that last record, it was written, like, I got sober for that last record, right? I was like, I'm now 4 and a bit years, like, clean and sober, which is crazy. And thank you, God, and you guys, and whoever else is here, and like, these fucking legends. But when I got sober, like, all that anger was still there. Like, I was still like processing that, and that's one of the things for me, like when I was like drinking and using, it's like I'm drinking and using on anger, you know, and I'm like unable to process that, and what the fuck is that about? You know, my language now can still be angry, sorry for swearing. I think, you know, for this one, there's still that energy there, because that's, I recognize that part of that is my ego, and part of that is like part of who I am. But also, like, we're going back to, like, it feels to me, I'm trying to get back to when I was like 15, like 14, 12, like, yeah, like the kid inside of me. That's where I want to be, and I want to be that like child again, you know? And so that's what this record is. It's like another sort of hopeful step in the like right direction. Also, there's definitely still songs on there that are about, you know, the sort of social climate in which we live, about how upset that like makes me. I know that for me, for instance, I feel very like oppressed by the world sometimes. You guys are lucky. You live in Germany. Like, Germany is a very like open and caring and kind community, but it's not like that everywhere else. You guys have Angela Merkel. Like, what do we have? Fucking Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. Like, Jesus, give me a fucking break, right? It's some of the record is about how that world can make an individual feel. Some of it is about the more like kind of loving side of who we are and who I am. And some of it is still about the idea of mortality and loss and emotion. And one song is about my ginormous ego. So, you know, there's a bunch in there, and I hope you dig it. Actually, there's 2 songs that are about my ginormous ego. So yeah, I hope you dig it.
Okay, well now I'm really excited.
Good,
Thank you.
good.
What makes you guys feel empowered?
Like standing up for what we believe in, like taking a stand, using our platform. Sorry, no.
You're right, Tony.
Using our platform to like speak out and make change. I think that it comes down to you as a person to like be the change you want to see in the world, and like if we've got an opportunity to get out there and do something good, we want to do as much as we can.
Being myself and seeing other people unashamedly being who they are, that empowers me. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just like, if I see someone who the rest of the world thinks is weird, but they're loving it and they're loving themselves, I'm like, yes, that makes me feel good. So that's what makes me feel proud.
Yeah, I think that's it. Seeing self-expressionism, seeing people express themselves to their truest extent, you know, throughout in whatever medium it might be, music, art, visual, whatever, that makes me feel empowered to continue to be able to, you know, be myself and just to, you know, feel hopeful, I think. Yeah.
For me, I think it's all about who you surround yourself with, and friends and family, and those are the people that really can give you a lot of strength. And yeah, friends and family for me is what really helps me.
I love creating things, whether it be music or, you know, anything that you create from nothing, and using that for your own and other people's enjoyment. So, and I love achieving things from out of nothing, if you know what I mean. That, and seeing something that's finished and that you're proud of is always, you know, that you can share as well, is always very empowering.
David, you're a very good singer and even an actor, so when will we see you in cinema again?
Thank you, first of all. You've said all the things that I feel about myself anyway, so I appreciate that. I have just... what a dick. I've just finished working on something, and I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I don't know. I'm putting a lot of energy and a lot of focus into this right now. I'm putting like a lot of time and care and love into this. And when the right project comes along, the right project comes along in the acting side of things. Like, if you want to know like where I'm at right now in terms of like my career in that, I'm looking for that project that like really connects with me. You know, that like it speaks to me. I'm like, I've read enough things where I'm just like, that's so not me, and like gone for things where I'm just like, that's not who I am, and I can't give myself to that. So if and when the right thing comes along, I'll take that up. But right now, it's this till death. You're welcome. Yes.
I just looked at the VIP thing and I don't know what the name is. But on the backside, is, you need to be afraid of us. Is this something from the new album, the new song, or?
Well spotted.
Well, yes, it is from the new record. We have a song called 1144 that was inspired by, or the process of writing it began when the journalist Jamal Khashoggi was murdered in the Saudi Arabian embassy in October of 2018. And it's a kind of like emotional, social, political response to the world. I was talking about like how the like world affects us now, you know, like our environment affects us, and that song is like, I'm just like, I'm fucking done with level with you, like I'm fucking pissed. like with everything that's going on and like the lack of connection that we have as people and like as like a species, I was just like, when you see things like that, you see a journalist be killed in an embassy by the government, and the king, the crown prince, ordered that murder. Like, that's not, and the international community does nothing. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not okay with that, and I'm not okay with how that makes me feel. Surely there's got to be more people that feel like that too, or I'm just gonna write this and hopefully just like, you know, just like get it off my chest. So, You Need to Be Afraid of Us is like, is that feeling like I'm sort of speaking as a group conscious, rather than like as an individual, in the hope that like there are other people out there who are aware of things that are going on and want to like try and make a change. So yeah.
And I got a second question. When you get into the political, there is also a new band coming out in America who's doing the same thing, kind of. Do you know Fever 330?
Yeah, Jason is a fucking legend.
Yes. I was on a concert of him and it was awesome. It was really good.
They're super, super dudes as well. Like, I was blessed. Yeah, I'm just going to name drop right now, but I was blessed to be able to meet Jason backstage at Alexander Palace when they supported Bring Me, right? I was over at Roland and a friend of ours, a DJ friend of ours, was like, come on, meet Jason, I think you guys will get on really well. So I was like, jamming backstage and like, oh my God, he's just like the nicest dude, and like, I love him so much. Did you see his Instagram story the other day where he's like doing the washing? He's like, fuck a gender role. I'm like, yes, I love that shit.
Yeah, I've met him too. He is awesome in person. His music is awesome. Awesome in personality.
Yeah, support. Much love for that band, right? So, I'm in. Over there. Actually, the girl in the blue hair, I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
What is kind of your favorite music? Did it also change, like when you were talking about the process about your new album? Did it like kind of change? So did also the music you listen to change?
To be fair, like, I'm always searching out new bands, trying to find new stuff, scouring Spotify. I just love finding new bands and seeing what's going on. I guess the core is always still the same, but we're taking inspiration from everything all around us, not just music, but the experiences, and I guess that's all gone into it. At least for me, anyway. Yeah.
I think for me, like, I find with like when I'm working on specific like projects or whatever it may be, I will tend to gravitate more towards one genre or like a sort of side of music than I will do towards another. But my taste is obviously like really varied. Like, I'll listen to anything. Mine and Sam's mum was and is in the music industry, so like we grew up in a world that was like so fucking diverse, you know, that really like we have no real like concept of holding on to genre, as it were. It was always like whatever you like and whatever makes you feel. But when, like, for instance, on this one, and talking about going back and being like a kid again, you know, I did find myself gravitating towards that music that I was like interested in when I was like 12 and like 11 and 13, and just like rediscovering records. I'm gonna level with you. I downloaded the old Robbie Williams record the other day. Yeah, it's a banger. I know. I'm with you. Yeah, oh indeed. But it's great. It's amazing, mate. And I listened to a song there that I hadn't listened to since I was like 12, and I was like jumping around my room, and I was just like, yeah, this is what it's all about, you know. And you know, sorry. I'll shut up in a second. I'll try to. Going like back to that band, Fever 333, I've also found it really hard recently. Like, there's only probably 2 bands that I've really connected with in the last maybe like 2 years, 3 years. One is a band called Kid Kapachi from the UK, who are amazing. They're just like writing fucking wicked, like indie, punk, weird, crazy bangers. And Fever, you know, Fever as well, you know, that band like have a really important message, and Jason is so like steadfast in what he believes. So if there's nothing that's like I'm like naturally like loving at that time, I will tend to go back.
I think you smashed it really. I don't want to say much more. It kind of covered it. But yeah, like it changes. I'm kind of with Roland. Like I change what I listen to pretty much every week. There's obviously things that I'll stick by and that I love as snapshots in time, and that represent how I was feeling at the moment. I listen to that, but that's the part of like finding new music. You've got to constantly find things to represent how you feel in that time.
We actually listened to a lot of British bands when we were doing the records, and bands that we really loved growing up as young teenagers. Bands like Blur and Oasis and real amazing songwriters like those guys was an inspiration at the time as well. So. that was fun to go back to those records.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to know what are your expectations for the tour, since this is like the first stop. So, what do you want to do? What do you expect fans to do? What do you want fans to do? Or to react to your new songs?
Well, hey, thank you. It's our first time playing in quite a while. So I think for us, we're all fucking like very, very excited to get out. Like very, very excited. And what are my expectations for it? I want people to go into it with an open heart, an open mind, and just to be themselves, you know? Like that's kind of it. That's that at the core of it for me. That's where it's at.
Yeah, what expectations are hard. I find expectations to be the mother of all downfalls, so I would never expect anything of you at all. But what we will try and do is, A, play them as best as we can, forgive us if we fuck them up. 2 is try and push this like message of like positivity and push this message of love that we have inside of ourselves at the moment. Like, I know I've done a lot of self-care within the last 3 years, and it's something that has greatly inspired this record, and I want us all to like have that, and I want us to feel like we're in a community. I want us to feel like this is home for us, you know, and that through a shared experience, we are empowered enough to make a change within ourselves or within the world, how we interact with other people, how we feel about ourselves, and what am I hoping? I'm hoping that like we come out of this experience feeling beautiful and feeling loved and feeling elated and proud of who we are, and proud to be weird, proud to like dance around in our underpants, proud to do whatever it is to touch that dog that's on the side of the street that belongs to somebody else that you've never spoken to before in your entire life, all that kind of weird shit that we stop ourselves from doing so often. And I want that to be our purpose and our goal, really, because for me, I feel like I felt like I lost that. I felt like I lost that connection to you, and 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 to you. And it's amazing. It's amazing when you start to do it again. It's like what? And I feel like the world has lost that, and so I want that to like exist here and now, and that's all I can try and do is like just like be here and be present and be with you and just enjoy ourselves.
Smashed it, yeah.
We'll try that, right?
Yes.
Holy shit, okay, cool. Oh. Yes, at the back. Yes,
So
you,
nice
sorry.
to meet you.
Hi.
I know that I have a personal motive, and I think some others of us still felt a little bit upset and sad that you cancelled your gig at Deichbrand Festival. Why?
I'm so sorry. I am really sorry that we had to do that. We had to do that. We were literally in the middle of making the album, and we had an entire US tour that we had also planned as well as Deichbrand, and we had a couple of US festivals, and the record was just taking that little bit longer to like get right. Apparently, it's true what they say, the second album is a little bit difficult at times. So we are sorry that we had to do that. We never, ever like want to pull a show, ever. That's not our purpose, and that's not like, we're not lazy like that. Like, we love playing music, but we know how important this album is for us, and we hope that this album is important for you, and so like we just needed that time and that emotional space to be able to do it, because when you're creating, when you're like in an artistic process, do you draw, paint, like, right, okay, cool, sick, so you'll get this. So when you're doing that and you have either like a sounds funny, but like a deadline, or you know, like a goal that you're trying to achieve, to step out of that and to step out of that process and into something that is like completely apart from it and involves a lot of like logistical trauma, I would call it, can impact what it is that I'm doing anyway, and that we're doing. I don't know how it is for you. So we are really sorry that we had to cancel that show, and I'm sorry if you bought tickets for that festival and that we weren't there. I feel
Yeah, I was a little bit upset because you were supposed to play at my birthday.
The guilt is so real. We are so sorry. We're so sorry. I hope you had a good birthday. Did you have cake? Yes,
Cake, confetti, the whole
cake, confetti, and no counterfeit. The three C's are only thing to say.
You made it up to us.
Okay, I will. I'll try. I don't know how, but I'll definitely try.
Great show.
Okay, I'll try.
No pressure.
I am sorry. Sorry. Yes.
I wanted to ask, how do you like to live that? Like, have you things that you normally do to calm down after or before a concert?
I eat banana before I go on. I've turned that into a weird ritual. Because I read somewhere online that helps before you go onto a show. Generally it does. I would say it does anyway.
Like
so, what? With nerves, with like, you know, just like getting ready to go onto a show, have a banana. It's calm. You get it. That's it. Afterwards, God, I literally just try and put my face down. Just stay vertical for a little bit. Sorry, stay horizontal for a little bit, not vertical. And just, yeah, disconnect from you know, my body. So I'm physically gone, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, what about you?
It's funny, it depends, like, as this journey, there you are, sorry, as this, like, band is going on its journey, there have been, like, different processes that I've gone through. Like, when we were touring in a crap van, my process before a show would be to eat as much chocolate as possible and to get really angry and to, like, try and let out the emotions of traveling 19 hours in a van with 7 other men out on that stage and, you know, get through that process. We're very fortunate now. I don't know if you've seen our beautiful bus outside. Isn't she gorgeous? How blessed we are. Now, you know, we are able to have some space and time for ourselves. It's very important for me now that I get into my body, that I am present in the moment, that I am present in whatever it is that I am doing. And so that requires a level of work and, like, sort of maybe said overthought, but a level of, like, consciousness that I have to either listen to meditation or I have to try and talk to somebody, and just to, like, take that calming moment now is really important for me. I know that, as I was saying earlier, like, when I'm working with the guys, if I'm not in that space, I'm a very difficult person to deal with. So I'm now trying as much as possible to be there and to be real and to be present. And I'm very fortunate. I have my wonderful, beautiful girlfriend on the road with me, and so I'm able to be that kind, gentle person that I am and cuddle up to her rather than cuddle up to Roland. You know, after a while, he's not into it anymore. He doesn't fancy me as much as I fancy him. So, you know, it's a process for me. I'm still working my way through it. You know, it's like these slips and turns and characters and ego and depression and fucking crazy shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the same, like, trying to stay grounded, keep balance, you know, meditation, things like that. But there's a lot of laughing as well, like messing around, just making sure we're having fun. Like, because if you're not having fun, what are you doing? So, yeah, just having fun.
Yeah, I used to actually listen to music before going on stage, but I actually don't do that anymore. And we do right before we come on stage, huddle up and have like a really like personal conversation together as a five, which I think is really, really important. And then post show, probably just many beers. I think is my my warm down.
I like to shower a lot, especially if it's a good shower. I like to always check out the showers before. So I'll have like, I just had a cold shower just now, that was quite nice. And then I'll have one before the show just to kind of, you know, it's a good place to relax and get clean. And then you usually shower afterwards too. Whereas, depending on how good the shower is, maybe a long time.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I have to thank you for bringing the Pro Tour, the Pro Hearts on Tour. That's the first question. And the second question, what it means to you to be on the main stage and reading the beats?
Pearl Hearts, who do you have to thank for that? Was that your question? You have Craig Newton partially to thank for that. Craig drew our attention to them. He's in the white t-shirt. If you like Craig, or he's gone. If you fancy him, he's single and lovely. So yes, you have Craig to thank for that. He drew our attention to them, and like we were just like, yeah, love it, like totally keen, absolutely. Like we always get sent bands that that we whatever. And yeah, we just like them. And how does it feel to be on main stage Reading and Leeds? I'm going to let you answer this one because Roland loves Reading and Leeds, like has done. So.
Yeah, it's something that, like when I was a kid, all of my favourite bands would be playing, and I could never go. Like my friends would always go, and I was always like dragged away on family holiday. So I said to myself, and I was like, I must have been like 15 or 16. I was like, the first time I go is when I play. And lo and behold, 2 years ago we played for the first time, we made it there. And I said to the lads, I was like, the next time we play, it's going to be on the main stage. Like, I'm a big believer in like putting things out into the universe, like the energy, and seeing how it like comes back to you. So we were out in LA. It was like April, I think, and we were recording the record. And we got a call from Will. I remember I was downstairs, everyone else was still asleep. We said, yo, the Reading and Leeds main stage offer's come through. It's in, I think my week was made by that. It's kind of crazy that we're on it. It's something that I used to watch on TV. All the main stage performances were covered. And then we got the letter through and they said, oh, it's going to be videoed and broadcast on the BBC. So I was there kind of like, wow, that's crazy. I kind of still can't believe it. Yeah.
Everyone tried to keep it a secret from each other. I think everyone was waiting for like this big moment where we all got together, but no one could contain themselves. So I think everyone went to each other and was like, you can't tell the others. You cannot tell the others. And then when I think we finally got together, everyone was like, yeah, we already all know. So,
What did you guys do before you were a band, before you going to work with the band?
What did I do before I was in the band? I was playing music in different capacities. I was involved in my local music scene, meeting people, recording people, just basically playing as much as I could. And it was only kind of natural. It wasn't like a big change for me, really, because I've been playing throughout the whole of my life, and kind of trying to help music as it was, and be involved in that as much as I could in any way. So yeah, that's what I was doing, pretty much.
I went to university and worked in audio post-production, which is basically recording audio for film and TV and stuff. And actually, Jamie at one point came in and he actually came in to record some lines for Thomas, Thomas Tank Engine, when I was working there, so that was fun. And then the band stuff happened, so.
I always played in bands. And that's it, really. Pulled a few pints in between.
Wir haben Zeit für eine Frage noch. Ja? One last question.
One last question.
Hello. What is your best experience from a concert?
I can only remember my worst experience.
Will that suffice? Is that okay? Okay, you'll like this one. It really deflates who I am, so you'll enjoy this. We were playing Manchester Deaf Institute, just down the road from where Jimmy's bar is, and it was the first song, and I was really overzealous, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking stage dive off this fucking bar, and I'm gonna go for it, and I went for it, and the fucking sea parted, and bam, on the floor, ego, gone. What am I gonna do? I tell you what, I'm gonna blame this on everyone else. It's not my fault, it's everyone else's fault that's here. Fuck you, you've got your phones up. This is all your fault. This isn't a Justin Bieber concert. We carried on with the show after that, but I felt like such an arse. So that is a memory that will always stick with me and always tell me, don't be a twat.
There's so many like good ones. One that always sticks out for me when we did Cologne, I think, on our last European run, and everybody brought like loads of confetti and balloons and just had like a big party at the end. It was just such a sick vibe. You know, like, it was like the whole room exploded. It was sold out. It was a really good way to end the tour. And just like, you know, every time we go out and play, at least for me, like I just feel so grateful that people come, support it, get into it, get behind it, and connect. You know, a lot of people come up and say something that was always really memorable for me is people come up and say, yo, this song really helped me through a hard time, or you wrote this song, this has really kind of saved me. And you know, we write music for ourselves so that we can get it out and express ourselves, you know, because it's in us. And I, you know, at least I have to like just get it out and that's it. But to have someone come up and say, yo, what you did for yourself has also managed to play a really big part in my life, for me, that's always like the cherry on the cake. Like, you know, that's what I wanted to do, and I'm doing it, and I love that. So.
I can't really pick out like one, but definitely as a country, Germany has always been so welcoming for us. Like the whole time that we always come here, and it's just an amazing feeling that you guys are always coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got some Germans in the house, all right.
Yeah, to add to that, it's just amazing that people come and see us, and that is enough. Every night that people actually connect with the music is the most important thing, I think.
Any memories? Any memories? Yeah, loads, loads. I remember we played a show in Rome, where I got put on an inflatable. No, it wasn't a boat. I think we was like, let's get a boat, let's get a boat. No, it was a paddling pool. It was round, and we had to like add a lot of cardboard to it to make it stable.
You were there.
You were there, yeah.
I were there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys there?
I have it.
You have the
You
boat?
have the boat?
Wow.
Does it still float? Does it work?
No.
No.
Let me push the air out.
Yeah.
Oh, you pushed the air out.
Yeah.
But it's like you could blow it up again.
I could.
All right. Okay. Well, okay. Well, thank you
So much. Like, I don't know about the rest of these legends, but I know I could sit here and talk to you for hours. It means everything, honestly, that you guys are here, that you have waited for us, that you have bared with us, that you stick with us, and that you just are coming to this show. We're really, really grateful. Like, it is mad, isn't it? Like, we're all here just trying to connect with one another and trying to be as real as possible. So thank you. I am eternally grateful and will always be very, very grateful. And we're going to do some photographs now. We're going to stand here. You guys are going to come up and have a picture with us, and then we will see you at the show a bit later. Are they going that way? Yeah, so you guys go that way.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.